Hi, and welcome to Paper Route Scrapbooking. I'm Nadine, and today I'm bringing you a layout for the Cut to You design team. Alright, so today I have chosen this cut file from Cut to You, and it is the My Little Ray of Sunshine digital cut file. I will link it below in the Cut to You shop. You can also find it over on the blog. I'm up on there today as well. And so this cute little digital cut file, I feel like is going to do a lot of the work for me because it's going to take up a big chunk of space. It's got my title, it's got a spot for my photo. In my mind, that's where I want my photo. I think you could also do a couple of photos at the top, but I only wanted one or the other of these for today because they're from two different events. And so I printed them both, but then when I put them in here, as you can see for this one, she's looking away from the page or from the title. And here she's looking more towards the camera, and her little arm is reaching out towards the title, so that draws your eye in this way. So I'm going to set this one aside for another day, and I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to put my picture in this little circle. Now, it's not a perfect match to the circle, so I think I'm just going to have to cut it down a little bit and then mount it probably on a colored paper. I chose this as my background. Now this is like an old, oh gosh, does it even have a date on here? 2001. But I found this in a bunch of old papers and I kept it because I really, really like the pretty subtle sky style background. So I kept it and I thought, you know, when I go to use this, I'm just going to mount it on a piece of cardstock. So I can do that in one of two ways. I can simply put it on here. And look, it's not quite the same size as my 12 by 12 cardstock. So isn't that funny how they're never exactly the same size? They're all 12 by 12, but they're like a little smidge off of each other. But I think what I'm going to do is cut some edges off so that there's like a border, maybe a 1/4 inch border. So maybe a half off the left and a 1/2 inch off the top, and then I'll center it so there's a 1/4 inch border all the way around. And then I'll just chop off that branding strip. This is, this cardstock had like a branding strip. Not all of them do. Okay, and for my papers, I thought, you know, I really would love to show my viewers how cut files are such a wonderful way to use these beautiful, smaller, patterned papers. Now this one, crazy, I think this was from 2016. I think I looked at that before I came on here. Now this is this the same? Oh yeah, it's from the same collection. So I had them put together in a like homemade kit, but they are actually from the same collection. And look, I haven't even opened this. Sad story, but true. So we're gonna look at it together, which is kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure I looked at it before I bought it, but I'm kind of a sucker for the older Bo Bunny stuff. So when I do find it secondhand, I usually pick it up. So I don't know how long it's been in my stash, but long enough that it should have been opened by now. Let's just say that because I don't actually remember buying it, so it wasn't this summer. Okay, so we're going to just take a little flip. So these are single-sided, but the thing that I love about the smaller version, so either the 6x6 or I think 6x8 is more popular these days, but if you look at the size of the design, it's perfect for putting inside of these tiny little letters. Now if this is a full 12 by 12, you would not get a full letter, like a full word inside of one of these letters, but on these ones you can, because the scale of the image is so much smaller. You know what I'm saying? Like these ones too. Like you might get a whole little pair of flip-flops and stuff in there. Do you know what I mean? If you look, for example, let's use the O because it's the most obvious, but you'll get a few in there instead of just, if this was a regular size 12 by 12, you'd probably get one or two, maybe only one image. That's funny. And back to the beginning. So those are the patterns I chose to work with. Now, did I mean to go for a tropical theme? Not really. I was going more for summer kind of vibe, and I thought the colors in this one did the trick. So I will probably not necessarily use like this, for example, because it's way too vacation style. But something like this, I could use the stripes, maybe even some of those to get a bunch of color in there. Those stripes. This I don't even think will look like a surfboard after I get it on there, but it sure would get a lot of color on there. This is totally good. That's good. This would have been pretty in a 12 by 12. Probably not that one. I'll use that one, that sunshine one. So we'll try a bunch of different ones and get them into our little title here. So I also had inside of there, I had these die cut pieces. I don't know which ones I will use, but I am trying to tackle some of these kits that I have curated for myself. This one, so these are like a few little extra things that I had tucked in there that obviously, because I haven't used it, they haven't made their way into this die cut pack yet, but they match the colors of this collection pretty closely, and so I think that's how they ended up in there. Let's see, we got a button, we got a star, we got a little up and away. So I'll probably tuck those in sort of and see where that takes us, but we will see what happens. So those are the embellishments I have pulled out. And that is where I'm going to start. At some point, I will probably bring in a, what do you call it? Pack of enamel dots or like gems, some kind of sprinkles for the page. I will also probably ink just the outside edge of this blue paper because once I cut it, it's going to show some white, which might be okay too. So I am going to pause the camera and back my cut file and type up some journaling so that we can put the rest of this layout together on camera. So hang on, I'll be right back. All right, so by the magic of editing and video, this cut file is now backed and mounted up on some foam. So first thing I did was I took my 12 by 12 cardstock background and I cut the strip off of it because it was a basil one, so it had like a branding strip on it, I guess. And then I cut my super thin old paper for my background, and I'm really glad I kept this. It's really pretty, and it actually goes pretty well with this layout. I'm really happy with it. And I cut it down to 11.5 by 11.5, and I put it on top of my cardstock so that it's not flimsy. Then I backed my cut file. Now I had some real struggles with choosing my patterned papers for this one, and I'm not sure why that was, but here's a tip. This is what I ended up doing. I didn't really like how it was going at first, and so I took a step back and was like, use the rainbow, because the rainbow never fails me, right? Rainbow is always pleasing to the eye. So I did that. I did a loose rainbow. I chose a red, orange, yellow, green, and blue paper. They don't have to be in rainbow order, but if you stick to those colors, it's all going to come together for you. So that's what I did. And it doesn't have to be specifically red either. If you're not a red person, you're like, I don't scrapbook with red. That's okay. Pink, any kind of red. Instead of blue, if you throw a purple in there, it's all going to come together if you stick to those rainbow colors, especially if you're working within a collection, because the designer already did the work for you. The tones match each other. You just have to find an order that looks pleasing to the eye. So that is my tip of the day. when you're trying to like kind of struggling with colors. So that is what I did. This one gave me a little bit of a struggle because I wanted this ombre look to match up all the way across. Now the bonus of doing each word in the same color was that I could kind of like line it up. So I don't think that's going to really show it, but like, let's say for example, I was trying to do it with the same gray and blue. So I would put this behind, back it that way. And then I would line it up again for this one and then flip it and do it again. So of course I used two different pieces of paper because the 6-inch wasn't going to reach all the way across, but I really like how it turned out. And I like that I kept the ombre across and didn't just use that color. Because if you're just like turning your paper, right, it's going to turn the different colors and shades and whatever. So I had to really think about that one. But the other ones were super simple. Even this one with the words, because the words went in all 4 directions, it doesn't matter if some of them are upside down. And honestly, the words don't have anything to do with my photos. So it doesn't matter if people can read them or not. It's just a color for me for this one. And then let's see, what did I do next? I decided I wanted it up on foam. So I painstakingly took some, I have this like weird, I got this at like a, I don't know, it's like a reuse center, I guess, where people just like toss stuff that's still usable and you just can go get it. It didn't cost me anything, but it's like got all these little bits and pieces inside. And so for something like this where all the shapes are different, this is really helpful. So I went through and got all the little pieces back there, and then I was able to lay it down on my layout and get it where I wanted it. Then it kind of felt like it was floating, so I wanted something across the bottom. So my go-to for that when I'm using a 6x6 paper pad is to flip through and find the stripe. So in this one, it was the orange tone on tone, because when you cut, and now it didn't matter because I ended up covering it with my journaling, but nevertheless, if you end up cutting along the stripe, or like, for example, for here, if I wanted it to be a full 6 inches and I butted it up along here, it wouldn't look as obvious that I have 2 papers side by side because the stripe kind of disguises it. So that's another tip for 6x6 on a 12x12. Okay, so then I got that strip of paper down there. I was planning actually to put my journaling up here, but I actually really liked this really big ephemera piece. So I don't, if you actually know me in person, which some of you do, you know that I do not like birds. They terrify me every day. But I know that my little baby girl loves animals, all animals. She sees birds in the front yard. They have a little bird feeder. She calls to them. It's so cute. She loves them. So I thought, you know what? I want that on here because that makes sense to me. I also want to point out that I used a very tropical collection for something that has nothing to do with the tropics. She was not in the tropics. This was fall in Ontario, Canada. I mean, it was a sunny day, obviously, but she's wearing long sleeves. But what I really wanted out of this was the feeling of sunshine. And so the tropics do that for me. That's why I chose this collection. So sometimes it's more about the mood and feel of your message, not necessarily about like, was I in Hawaii? Because this actually has like Hawaiian sayings and stuff on it, and like Maui, and yeah. I've never been to Hawaii, so that's not what this is going to get used for. It's going to get used for other things, right? So always think about that too. You don't have to be so married to the idea of, you know, this paper says Maui in it, so I can only use it for Hawaiian scrapbooking, right? So I got that little bird on there. Well, he's not little. He actually goes all the way down to here. Can you see his tail feathers sticking out? Excuse me. And it had this floral on it already, so I just added a couple of more small florals and popped them up to match up with my title. I put a floral piece here and then a floral piece here to draw the eye around where I want it to go. Then I decided I wanted a couple of little clouds, and so I found these wood veneer clouds and I thought they were perfect, so I added them on, but I only had a couple, and I did have a third one, but it was huge and it wouldn't fit on here. And I wanted to bring one more thing of wood veneer on, so I grabbed this arrow piece and tucked it under my title. So that is as far as I got. Oh, and then I punched my circle, my picture, I mean, with this 3-inch photo punch. I actually got this at a yard sale, and this was already on it, but what a great idea, hey, to label your circle punches with number stickers. I mean, we all have number stickers. If you're a paper crafter, you probably have number stickers of some sort. So yeah, I thought that was a really good tip too, and I've done that to a few more of mine just so I can quickly and easily see what size it is. Especially this one didn't have a size anywhere that I can see, so I wouldn't want to be measuring it every time I wanted to use it, so that was a really good idea. Okay, so what do I still need to do here? I also did my journaling, typed it up, got it on there. I feel like I put away the date stamp without stamping. Hang on. Did I? Yep, I did. Hang on. I'll get it. Oh my gosh. Some days it is what it is, right? Okay. So I inked things in this iced spruce color. So what did I ink? I inked the edges of my blue paper. I inked the edges of my ephemera pieces. I think that's it. Oh, and my journaling. And I did it with this very subtle, this iced spruce is quite a subtle grayish blue color. I guess it's a gray. It's got a little bluey green tinge to it, but so I am just going to, I had already set this because I planned to stamp it and I did not. So there's my date. It's really funny that I put it right away as if I had already done it. Oh boy. Okay. So that is what I got on there. Lastly, I just want to add a little bit of different texture and dimension. So I already got the wood on there. I'd like to add a little something else. So I think I'm going to do something with these puffies, and then I want to put some of my florals. I want to put some centers in. So I thought maybe these are old. Cloud9 Design 2006. Probably got them at a yard sale though. That seems to be my go-to. Do I like those? Yeah, kind of. I also like these ones. They are from, I don't know, Bluebells and Buttercups. But anyways, these are not. These were just loose in my box, and so I threw them in here because they were similar. So, but I have two different size options. So there's that one and that one. These ones are a little bit more muted. And then I was thinking some puffies around. So let's see what I can do about getting some centers in those flowers. I think I'm going to try one of these dots. And if I like it, I like that they're kind of like, they're colored, but they're transparent too, or translucent. Is that the word I'm looking for? Because they aren't clear. They are, you can see through them. And I like that there's a variety of sizes. These ones are not, there's not a lot of variety in terms of getting those flower centers to the right size. And as you can see, I didn't pick the same size florals for all around my layout, right? These ones are quite small compared to the others. And even the ones at the bottom are kind of in the middle of that. So, but I think that'll just add a little something. And I don't know, do I want one in here? No, probably not. But maybe one just under here. And I could tuck one under this too, because you can still kind of see it coming out of there, but it's just not as obvious. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. And then I think I'm going to add some little hearts on here, because my journaling is all about how living a 4-hour plane ride away from my grandkids has been a bit of a struggle for me, but my little ray of sunshine was that my daughter-in-law would send me a daily photo of the kids in their first year. So I never felt like I didn't know what they look like every morning. Do you know how they change so much in that first year? This that she did this was such a blessing. She still updates me a lot, but it's not every day, and it doesn't have to be because they don't change as fast. You know, she's 2.5 now, and her brother's 5, so obviously they're not changing as often. But what a treat it was to get that little picture every day and just know that they're okay. And yeah, I'm very blessed. They have terrific parents. I cannot imagine it any other way. Just very, very blessed. And we just had them here for a couple of weeks. Well, not quite, like 10 days, I think it was. And oh my gosh, what a marvelous, entertaining adventure it was to just have not like them, yes, and also my other kids around, because of course my other kids aren't in that stage of life, and so they're just like, what is with all this energy? So yeah, definitely food for thought for them, I guess, about how their lifestyle doesn't quite fit that at the moment. So, but it was so much fun. We all had fun together, and she is very much a fan of my youngest boy's girlfriend and would not let that poor girl out of her sight. She just was on her constantly, and I don't think that Avery minded. Avery was quite enamored with her as well, so the feeling was definitely mutual. But my goodness, what fun. Okay, so I got some hearts on there. These are from Cocoa Vanilla Studio from the Storyteller collection. They are so pretty. I just noticed a new one in the shop the other day, and I'm gonna have to grab it too, because of course every time they come out with a new collection it has different colors and whatever, and I'm trying not to buy a lot of paper unless I'm teaching a class with it. But the puffies, I'm gonna go for the puffies every time. I think that is it for today. Did I tell you all the things I wanted to talk about? I think so. I wanted to talk about how you could use a tropical collection for an everyday layout, rainbow order, always pleasing to the eye, stripe strips for 6x6 paper pads, and numbering your die punches if you think that would be helpful for you. Okay, so that's it for today. Stay tuned at the end for a close-up shot of this layout and some detail shots if you'd like. You can also find my layout on Instagram and over on the Cut to You blog. Please go over and visit the shop. Gwen's little shop is so fun, and there are so many exciting things to see there. I don't know what I'm going to work with next, but I'm finding it a lot of fun to pick and choose what's going to go on my next layout. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below and I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Have a great day, everyone. Bye for now.